Discover the amazing journey of Abil, thrown out at midnight with her twin newborns, a heartwarming tale of resilience. At midnight, Sarah stood on the cold pavement, her heart pounding as her world crumbled around her. 2 hours ago, she'd been a wife, a mother, cozy in the bubble of her small Ohio home. Now, with her newborn twins Lily and Max bundled in her arms, she became a nameless ghost wandering the empty streets. The harsh bite of the winter air wrapped around her like a shroud, whispering of unending despair. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she felt the weight of judgment pressing down on her. Despair tightened its grip, but in the distance a warm light flickered. It was the community center, bustling with life, a refuge for those in need. As she stepped inside, the comforting hum of voices enveloped her. The usual chatter of the town now felt like a melody of hope. She spotted Tom and Jenny, a couple who had also lost their home, and Edna, the sweet widow, her eyes crinkled in kindness. Sarah's heart swelled. Here was warmth amidst the darkness. Weeks unfurled into a tapestry of friendship and support. Sarah couldn't just sit by. She dove headfirst into organizing fundraisers, food drives, anything to uplift those around her. It felt good to be needed, to transform from a single mom into a pillar of strength. But deep inside, she battled a nagging whisper, the judgment of those who only saw her as a cliché of a struggling single mother. Still, as the holidays approached, the community's resources grew scarce. Each day brought new tension. Arguments erupted over dwindling food donations. Sarah's chest tightened as anger filled the room, and she prayed it wouldn't shatter the fragile unity they had built. Together, they had fought to survive. Without that bond, they'd lose everything. Unable to ignore the cracks in their collective spirit, she started dreaming bigger. What if she launched a small catering business? Using local produce, she could showcase what their town had to offer. Just as Sarah felt the stirrings of possibility, a cruel rumor infiltrated their circle, echoing with doubt. Questions swirled, calling into question her character and intentions. Was she really reliable? The whispers gnawed at her spirit, fueling fears that she could lose it all. The community, once her anchor, now seemed to teeter on a precipice of judgment. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Standing before the community center, Sarah felt her heart race. The crowd had gathered for an important town meeting, a mix of skepticism and hope etched on their faces. The moment felt electric. Could she rely on the very community that once embraced her? Would they stand beside her or cast her aside? The stakes were high, not just for her, but for everyone who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. As she stepped forward to speak, the question hung thick in the air. Could she reclaim her dignity, or would the judgment of others extinguish her newfound fire? Sarah inhaled deeply, steadying her trembling hands. The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on her. The dim overhead lights flickered briefly, but in that moment, the warmth in her chest surged like a flame. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice stronger than she felt. "I know times are tough. I've felt it too. But I believe we can rise together." She glanced at the familiar faces, Tom and Jenny nodding slightly, Edna's encouraging smile urging her onward. "I have an idea, something that can benefit not just my family, but all of us." The room filled with murmurs, a mix of curiosity and doubt. She pressed on, desperation lining her words. "A catering business. If we showcase our local produce, we can not only feed our families, but bring some income to the community." A voice from the back spoke up, laced with skepticism. "How do we know you'll stick with it? You've been through so much." The comment stung, but Sarah held her ground. "I know I've made mistakes, but I'm here now, ready to work. I want to be part of something bigger than myself." The room was restless, and the echoes of uncertainty swirled like a storm about to break. What if it fails? Another voice chimed in, dragging the feeling down further. What if we're wasting time and food on this? Then we learn. Sarah shot back, her heart racing. It's not just about the business. It's about hope. About proving that we can create and we can thrive. But I can't do this alone. The flickering lights filled the silence again, and she noticed Edna standing up, her frail frame commanding attention. Sarah's right. We each faced our own struggles here. We can't forget the bond we share. The older woman's voice carried a reassuring tone that eased the crowd's tension. Gradually, more voices rose. Tom proposed a partnership, bringing his culinary skills into the mix. Jenny suggested a pop-up event to draw in local supporters. Each new idea added strength, unity fueling the spark that Sarah ignited. For the first time, she looked around and saw not just individuals suffering, but a collective force ready to fight for their future. Yet, as the meeting wrapped up, a nagging feeling clung to Sarah. The doubts that had peppered the room lingered in her mind. Could she really hold it all together? What if the rumors were true? What if she failed? With newfound determination, she squeezed her eyes shut and pictured her twins, safe and sound. They were the reason she had to keep fighting even if the world wanted to knock her down. After the meeting, Sarah found a quiet moment outside, the winter air frosty against her skin. She took a deep breath, one that carried all the heaviness of the evening. She envisioned the future she dared to chase, with laughter and warmth back in their lives. But would the whispers behind her back become louder now that she had laid her heart bare? That night, unsure of what tomorrow would bring, she resolved to gather the community's support every last drop. As she rocked her twins to sleep, the fierce determination ignited again within her. Tomorrow would come, with challenges and uncertainties, but even shadows could not eclipse the light she felt growing inside her. Little did she know, whispers were brewing in the same shadows she sought to escape. Would her resolve withstand the next storm, or would those around her bring her dreams crashing down? The next morning arrived like an unwelcome guest, birds chirping energetically outside, as if mocking Sarah's unease. She rubbed the sleep from her eyes, the weight of yesterday's meeting still heavy on her shoulders. The kitchen was still dark, and the house felt eerily quiet. Just her and the calm before the storm. As she sipped her first cup of coffee, a plan began to form in her mind. She would need to hit the ground running if she wanted to turn ideas into action. It was no longer just a catering business, it was a lifeline for her and her neighbors. But where to start? The kids, still asleep, offered a moment of peace. She called Tom, excitement bubbling as she laid out her vision. What if we start with a community gathering local cooking competitions? We can showcase everyone's talents. It'll not only get the word out but rally folks together. Tom loved the idea. Their conversation flowed seamlessly, his enthusiasm infectious. It wasn't just business now. It felt personal, a chance for them to all shine and be recognized. The sound of tiny giggles interrupted her thoughts. Her twins had awoken and were now playing while snuggled under their blanket. She couldn't help but smile, her heart warming as she watched their innocent chaos. They didn't know about the uncertainties looming outside their fragile bubble. All they needed was their mom, and Sarah would move mountains to ensure they were safe and fed well. Hours passed, and Sarah reached out to others in the community through a group message. Excitement built as responses flooded in, people ready to pitch in, eager to help. Sarah felt a pulse, a heartbeat of hope echoing through the small town, bringing people together. But soon after, the warm glow of unity dimmed. A message came from Lisa, a woman whose judgment had always felt sharper than her kindness. Do you really think your little venture is going to help? You're setting everyone up for disappointment, Sarah. The words cut deeper than she expected. Sarah stared at her phone, feeling ambition waver under the weight of doubt. Could she be wrong? She stood there for a moment longer, her stomach churning, and then she remembered the faces that had lit up during the meeting. The laughter of her twins erupted once more, jolting her back to reality. Determined not to let negativity seep in, she replied to everyone in the group chat, emphasizing the need for participation in coming together. Let us meet at the old park tomorrow, bring ideas, and let us work on this together. After sending the message, she decided to take a stroll with the twins. Breathing in the crisp air, she pushed the stroller down their usually familiar path, planning her approach for the gathering. Midway, however, her thoughts were interrupted as she passed by Lisa's house. To her surprise, Lisa waved, a forced smile plastered on her face. "Hey, Sarah," Lisa called, a hint of sarcasm lacing her voice. "Good luck with your big plans." Turning, Sarah felt her heart race, anger bubbling within her. "Thanks, but I'm not aiming for luck. We're creating something real." The tension hung between them like a storm cloud about to burst. But instead of confronting the negativity, Sarah took a deep breath. She focused on the joy and the twins' laughter, hoping it would drown out any doubt. By evening, as Sarah tucked the twins back into bed, she felt a heavy weight settle over her heart again. Doubts crept in like shadows, whispering reminders of her past failures. Could she really pull this off? Just then, a knock shattered her bubble of reflection. Sarah opened the door to find Edna standing there, bright and hopeful under the porch light. "I'm here to help," she announced, determination in her eyes. Sarah's heart lifted, hope rekindling within her. Maybe she wasn't alone in this after all. But as she invited Edna in, the whispers from the dark corners of her mind returned. Would the collective strength be enough to silence the judgments looming around her? Tomorrow, all the pieces would collide. Would they rise together or fall apart at the first sign of trouble? The next morning felt different, charged with anticipation. As the sun crept over the horizon, its warm rays bathed the kitchen in a golden light. Sarah stood by the window, her twins playing on a colorful mat surrounded by toys. The laughter erupted like music, lifting her spirits despite the nagging doubts still lurking in her heart. With a quick breakfast and a promise to her girls that they would have a fun-filled day, Sarah got ready. They would be heading to the old park, where she'd try to transform her dreams into reality. Today was crucial. A flurry of butterflies danced in her stomach as she prepared mentally for the gathering. Edna arrived in a bright floral dress, looking radiant and full of energy. "Let us make this happen, Sarah," she said, clasping her hands excitedly. The warmth of Edna's confidence was like a protective shield against the darker thoughts. Sarah allowed herself to smile. As they made their way to the park, the vibrant colors of blooming flowers and the cheerful chatter of neighbors filled the air. It felt alive, electric. But with every step, Sarah sensed the weight of expectation building. When they arrived, she was taken aback by the sight before her. Tables were set up underneath sprawling oak trees, adorned with colorful tablecloths and decorations contributed by those in the community. People gathered, murmurs of anticipation filling the space. It was a mix of familiar faces, friends, acquaintances, even a few reluctant participants she thought might not show. "Wow, I didn't expect this," Sarah whispered to Edna, who was busy arranging flyers for the cooking competition. "Neither did I. It's beautiful, isn't it?" Edna beamed, her eyes glistening with determination. Feeling a surge of gratitude, Sarah took a deep breath. Here, in this moment, she felt a glimmer of hope. But as she stepped forward to gather everyone's attention, her voice almost faltered. Could she inspire them? Were they truly united in this vision? "Thank you all for coming," she started, her heart racing as she tried to capture the attention of the crowd. "We're here to celebrate our community through food. This competition is about more than just winning. It's about showcasing our talents and bringing us together." A few people clapped, others offered encouraging nods. She pushed through her nerves, trying to channel the excitement that buzzed in the air. Food connects us, and right now, we need each other more than ever. But as her eyes scanned the crowd, she caught sight of Lisa, arms crossed, a skeptical look plastered across her face. The momentary surge of energy dwindled, doubt creeping back in. Then, unexpectedly, a voice called out from the back. "What will the winner get?" A ripple of laughter ensued, breaking the tension. "How about a basket of goodies from local vendors?" Sarah replied on impulse, grateful for the distraction. But she was taken aback by how her mind raced, spinning ideas on the spot. Let us also have a small community cook-off, Edna chimed in, where the winner gets to decide the theme for our next gathering. Cheers erupted as hands shot into the air with enthusiasm. Sarah's heart swelled. They were in this together. The collective excitement spread like wildfire. But then, just as the energy peaked, the clouds above began to swirl, dark and ominous. A sudden gust of wind swept through the park, knocking over a few decorations. The joyous chatter shifted to gasps as everyone hurried to catch the errant objects. Is this really happening? Sarah muttered, a new wave of anxiety crashing into her. Was this a sign? Everyone scrambled to help, and as Sarah joined in, she felt both fear and resolve battle within her. This storm, she thought, could signify trouble or hope. Amidst the chaos, she caught Edna's eye, who nodded encouragingly. Sarah took a deep breath, grounded in this moment, promising herself that no matter what challenge arose, she would fight for the vision they had made together. But just as she felt anchored, a voice popped up from the crowd. Is this what you call a community, Sarah? It might end up being a disaster. All eyes turned to Lisa, and the tension returned like a mallet against glass. Would their dream shatter under the weight of doubt? Or could they prove her wrong? That was the question hanging in the air as the storm loomed overhead. The wind howled as dark clouds swallowed the sun, casting a gray pallor over the park. Sarah felt her stomach clench at Lisa's words, each syllable hitting her harder than the last. The laughter that moments ago painted the air faded, replaced by an uncomfortable tension. Let us not lose momentum, everyone. Sarah called out, trying to regain control. The winds were swirling around them, but the community spirit sparked something deep within her. Together, we can make this happen. Will we really, though? Lisa shot back, her arms still crossed, challenging. A ripple of murmurs followed her remark, and Sarah could feel the doubt hanging heavy in the air. Edna stepped forward, her voice strong. This is a community. We need each other today. The defiance in Edna's tone resonated with others. Some members echoed her words, rallying to restore the lingering excitement. The gusts blew fiercely, knocking another table slightly askew. Sarah decided to embrace the chaos, determined to turn the unfolding storm into a force for good. Let us start setting up. The competition isn't going to run itself. As if on cue, she spotted a young girl, no older than 8, taking the lead in helping to gather scattered decorations. That small act sparked something in the crowd. A few adults joined her, reaching for the colorful streamers caught in the branches. Sarah watched as hesitant smiles lit faces, relief washing over her. See, Lisa? She replied, leaning toward Lisa with unwavering resolve. Every small act matters. We all come here with the same goal, to connect. To have fun. The crowd began to echo her enthusiasm, their hands working in unity. Laughter mixed with the chaos, the sounds of people rallying, moving, and creating a makeshift laboratory of community spirit. Let us show up for one another. Edna called out, rallying the supporters closer. Together, they set the tables back upright, adjusting decorations, retying the balloons. The urgency fueled their actions, harnessing the storm's energy into something transformative. But just as the air shifted, and the tension lessened, another voice chimed in, a voice cloaked in disbelief. But what if it all falls apart? The question reverberated through the crowd, suddenly crystallizing the unspoken fear. Sarah felt a raw urgency to confront it. What if it does? She stepped forward, her heart raced against her ribs. What if we fail? Silence loomed in the park. The sky darkened, and those who were busy paused to listen. The atmosphere crackled with uncertainty. We might fall, Sarah continued, her voice steadying as she sensed the weight of every pair of eyes on her. But maybe, just maybe, we rise even stronger. A few murmurs began to pick up, and someone whispered, together. Yes! Sarah seized the moment, the pulse of optimism flowing through her. When we come together, we can create joy even amidst the storm. We are not just here for a competition, we are creating memories. The shorter girl who started helping earlier piped up, I brought my cookies. We can all share. A wave of supportive cheer spread through the crowd, laughter intermingling with the strengthening winds. Sarah felt a refreshing surge of hope wash over her. Just then, a dramatic clap of thunder echoed overhead, almost as if it had summoned the community resolve into a roar. "It's showtime," Edna declared, nudging Sarah forward. As the joy spilled over, a nervous but eager energy filled Sarah. Would they be able to hold on to this moment, even as the skies threatened to burst? And amid this collective fight against the storm, had Lisa's doubts been dispelled, or had they only fueled the fire within them all? Sarah looked toward Lisa, who stood silent and contemplative. The moment felt pivotal. Would she ultimately choose to join or retreat? The air crackled with uncertainties as they stood on the precipice of change. The thunder rolled once more, resonating through the hearts of everyone in the park. Sarah could see the tension in Lisa's stance, arms still tightly crossed, her brow furrowed, a storm of thoughts brewing behind her eyes. Edna turned to the crowd again, her voice brimming with determination. "Everyone, remember why we're here. It's not just for a competition, but for each other." Encouraged, groups of neighbors rallied, transforming what could have been an overwhelming storm into a mighty wave of camaraderie. The sound of laughter began to surface again, mixing with the gusts of wind, culminating into a beautiful cacophony of community spirit. A few teenagers started to assemble the tables, their chatter filled with teasing and playful banter. Nearby, parents began to set up booths. They were eager to showcase their crafts, homemade jams, cookies, and colorful artwork. Sarah felt warmth swelling in her chest. This was what community looked like. She caught a glimpse of Lisa, who was finally moving. Taking a breath, Sarah approached her, tentatively this time. "Hey, I get it," she said softly, trying to bridge the divide. "It's scary to think about failure, but I believe we can do something amazing together." Lisa shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. What if it's not enough? What if it's not what people want? Waves of doubt rippled around them. Again, others were listening, caught in the shadows of uncertainty. Just as a soft drizzle began to mist over them, Edna stepped in, her eyes bright with fierce resolve. What if we just show up as ourselves? All the quirks, love, and messiness? The drizzle turned into a sprinkle, as if the sky were joining their conversation. It quickly chased away the crowd's doubts. Sarah sensed the shift. Small smiles began to dance on faces lit with hope. "Let us not just aim for perfection," someone from the crowd suggested, raising a paintbrush. "Let us aim for connection." Laughter mixed with the raindrops as the energy stirred. "Exactly." Sarah jumped in, excitement bubbling within her. "Let us be real. It's our imperfections that make us who we are. And sharing ourselves, that's what makes moments memorable." Lisa watched as others began to nod in agreement, her brows unfurling slightly. "So you think we can really get through this storm?" Sarah grinned. "I believe we can create something beautiful, maybe even more beautiful because of the storm." Just then, the little girl with the cookies rushed up, her face flushed with unexpected energy. "I want to share my cookies with everyone. They're really good." "Yes, cookies!" cheered someone in the back, clapping their hands. "Let us get a table set up for those," Edna suggested, illuminating the spirit of collective effort. The crowd gathered eagerly to support the girl. With every inch of the park transforming around them, Sarah felt a flood of gratitude for this moment. If they were going to face the storm, they might as well do it with laughter, treats, and the glow of hope in their hearts. But as the drizzle intensified, a loud clap of thunder rolled overhead again. The skies roared, piercing through the joy like a hard truth, making everyone freeze momentarily. "Maybe it's time to move under the trees?" someone suggested hesitantly, glancing up. Sarah turned to Lisa, her mind racing. "What do you think? Do we let the rain stop us, or do we embrace it?" That question hung in the air, heavy and potent. It wasn't just about the storm anymore, it was about their willingness to move forward together. Would they all choose to stand strong, hand in hand against the unrelenting winds and raindrops? There was an undeniable magic swirling within, holding promise and peril. And, just like that, as uncertainty loomed higher than the dark clouds above, the community was faced with yet another pivotal moment. Sarah held her breath, watching Lisa. The tension in the air didn't just belong to her, It was a shared heaviness, threading through every heart in the park. Moments stretched into what felt like eternity as raindrops began to fall more aggressively. Some people glanced about nervously, while others exchanged uncertain looks, but slowly, one by one, they began to gather closer beneath the sprawling branches of the trees. "Let us move," Edna called, her voice cutting through the unsettled chatter. "We want to let a little rain take away our spirit." With a collective cheer, the crowd followed her lead. It was amazing how quickly they found common ground, huddling together with laughter and shouts, shaking off the raindrops like water off a duck's back. As they shifted under the trees, Sarah felt a spark of hope surge through her. She stepped forward, grabbing an empty table and setting it up near the tree line. "Come on. We can make this work. Let us set up booths here. We're doing this together." Lisa finally broke into a smile, nodding as she stepped up to help. "Let us showcase who we are. It can still be beautiful, even in the rain." With renewed determination, the adults began to unpack their goods. Someone set up a giant umbrella, creating a makeshift canopy for the younger children. Laughter bubbled back up, filling the air. Even as the wind picked up, dragging the rain sideways, spirits remained high. "I never thought I'd be promoting homemade cookies while dodging droplets." A dad chuckled as he arranged his table. "Waterproof my artwork." A nearby mother shouted back, waving a painting that had become a canvas for raindrops. "All part of the experience, right?" The momentum was contagious. Sarah could feel her heart rate match the uptick in enthusiasm from the crowd. They were a family here, struggling against the elements, yet finding warmth in each other's company. She glanced sideways at Lisa, whose face now radiated joy, the weight of worry fading as fast as the clouds were rolling in. As Sarah stepped back to admire the scene, she watched the crowd's colorful booths mix with the vibrant greens around them. A little girl with a bright yellow raincoat twirled under the umbrella, her laughter spiraling out like music, chasing away the remaining tension. "Look, everyone's joining in," Sarah said, pointing to the people huddled around a small table where Edna was showing off her stunning quilt. "This is what it's all about." Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder resonated again, causing everyone to jump. Then, before the shock could settle, the rain began to taper off, lightning into a gentle patter overhead. Each drop now fell like a promise, a reminder they had all come together to fight for something more than just a community event. "See?" Lisa said, her eyes shining as she looked around. "It's not just the rain that can surprise us. It's what we choose to do with it." Sarah smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Exactly. Together, we can handle anything." The crowd burst into a cheer, their voices blending into the sound of the retreating rain. It was a moment that shone like a beacon of hope, illuminating the potential for what they could accomplish as a united front. But just as they basked in the glory of their collective spirit, the clouds began to shift ominously again, darkening overhead. A faint rumble echoed a warning, and Sarah's stomach nodded. "What's next?" she whispered to herself. Would the storm return with a stronger force this time, or could they weather whatever was coming together? With anticipation settling in the air once more, the community was left wondering what would it take to truly stand strong when the winds blew fiercest? The whispers of concern floated through the crowd as the sky darkened again, casting shadows over their makeshift festival. People looked up, uncertainty replacing the joy that had just blossomed. Sarah held her breath. She could practically feel the weight of the clouds pressing down on all of them. "Just a little wind," shouted an optimistic voice from the back. It was a teen, balancing a plate of cookies, bravely stepping forward as if to challenge the tempest. The crowd chuckled, the sound a little nervous but buoyed by shared courage. "Let us hold tight, everyone," Edna called again, her voice rising above the murmur. "What is a little weather among friends? We're here to celebrate." With her rallying cry, Sarah felt a thrill of resolve spark within her. She looked around at the faces illuminated by fleeting rays of sunlight breaking through the clouds. They were ready to fight for their moment, to grasp onto hope like it was the last tether holding them to the world. Lisa, still beside her, was scanning the crowd. "We should do something to keep up the energy," she suggested, her voice steady despite the ominous rumblings overhead. A quick group activity, maybe? What do you have in mind? Sarah asked, imagining a way to fill the space with laughter once again. Let us form teams for a quick scavenger hunt. Lisa beamed, getting excited. They could have to find something green, something yellow like that coat, and let them use their imaginations. The idea sparked excitement, igniting smiles as they gathered around. All ages joined in, young kids tugged at their parents' sleeves, ready to rush into the hunt. Sarah's heart soared at the sight of families connecting amidst the looming storms above. Get creative! Sarah shouted, count the umbrella colors, find the best puddles, take goofy selfies together. It's Southar Rain Parade. The crowd exploded into laughter, the sound washing over the thickening tension like a bomb. Teams formed and spread out, darting through the trees and booths, laughter mingling with the sound of raindrops. But then, without warning, the wind picked up again, whipping past them with a fierce chill. The umbrella nearly toppled. Sarah lunged to steady it just as a gust shook the branches above. Watch it! A voice cried, laughter mingled with gasps as a few drops became a downpour. The kind of rain that sent everyone running under cover. But it didn't stop them for long. People laughed and dashed about, exhilarated even in their soaked clothes. They began to take covers to protect their goods, sharing fast, frantic glances and unspoken understanding that together, they could beat whatever storm was brewing. Sarah, Lisa's voice cut through the chatter. Help me gather up those paintings but before she could finish, the sky erupted in a clatter of thunder that shook the ground beneath them. Hands gripped shoulders, hearts raced as the air thickened with static. Hold on tight, Edna shouted, but her voice barely broke through the cacophony. The world felt on the brink of chaos, the bright festival turning shady surreal. What is happening? Sarah stared into the darkening sky, her stomach churning. Just then, a vibrant flash of lightning split the sky, illuminated faces frozen in a moment of fear. She could feel the weight of everyone's gaze resting on her, as if they were searching for reassurance. What do we do? Someone cried out, panic creeping back in. Stay together. Sarah managed to cry, raising her voice above the chaos. But inside, she felt the tension curling like thunderclouds too. They were about to face the storm. What would they find in those terrifying moments ahead? Would unity save them, or would the storm prove too powerful? Her heart raced as she awaited the next flash of thunder, knowing that the answer might reveal everything they genuinely cared about. The storm roared louder, drowning out all thoughts as raindrops lashed down like tiny sharp stones. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. An instinct to protect surged through her as she scanned the horizon, trying to locate Lisa. Where are you? She whispered, almost drowned out by the storm. Just then, she spotted Lisa huddling against a booth, her hair plastered to her face, her mouth open in what looked like a soundless shout. Sarah fought her way through the crowd, tugging her coat tighter around her. She reached Lisa just as the thunder roared again, shaking the air around them. Here, Sarah yelled, taking Lisa's hand. We're all still here. But Lisa glanced back towards the crowd, her eyes scanning. The kids. We need to gather everyone. The steady patter of people's feet running to shield from the rain echoed in Sarah's ears. She grabbed Lisa's arm and started moving, hoping they wouldn't get separated again. They pushed through groups of people, some were already forming bonds under the storm's pressure, sharing laughter and encouragement despite the chaos. The vibrant flash of light danced in the dark sky again, illuminating a child tugging at their mother's hand, frightened. The sight twisted Sarah's heart. She motioned to Lisa. Let us help them. Without waiting for a response, they rushed over. Kneeling down to the child, Sarah smiled courageously. It's going to be okay. We're all gonna be all right. Look at the rain. It's like nature's confetti. The child's eyes sparkled with curiosity, fear giving way to delight as they watched the droplets splatter on the ground. A moment of connection blossomed amid the pandemonium. See? We can be brave together, Sarah said, giving the child's shoulder a gentle pat. With that, Lisa grabbed some small party hats from a nearby stand, tossing them on both their heads alongside the child's. Who says rain can't be fun? Parade time. A ripple of laughter washed through the area as other festival-goers noticed. They began to join in. Huddled under awnings and makeshift covers, they started to share bits of laughter, trading stories, and encouraging one another. Sarah felt warmth seep through her as they laughed, the weight of the storm fading. The unity in the laughter made her believe they could defy the weather together. But then, just as hope seemed to swell, a monstrous gust of wind tore through, ripping away the booth's protective cover. "Hold on!" Sarah yelled as everything whipped around, cans rolled, decorations flew, and umbrellas tumbled dramatically. Gasping, some people staggered, losing their footing. Sarah grabbed hold of Lisa and the child. "Stay close." They regrouped as the chaos unfolded, gathering everyone to search for cover. Edna's voice rang through the panicked crowd, "To the pavilion. It can withstand it, move." They all turned as one, painting their path. Sarah felt the growing energy of determination in their steps as they flocked towards the pavilion. Underneath its sturdy shelter, breathless laughter mixed with glances of awe danced through the raindrops swirling outside. "Look!" A woman pointed to a row of bright-colored rain slickers on a vendor's table nearby. "Let us grab those for the kids." As people scrambled to gather up the colorful gear, the joy of resourcefulness flickered back into their hearts. Sarah smiled, feeling the pulse of community swell. But just as they began to catch their breath and find their footing, a screech of bending metal made them freeze. From the edge of the pavilion, wooden beams creaked precariously as another bolt of lightning cracked across the sky, aiming straight down. "Get back!" Sarah shouted, the uncertainty returning like a shadow, creeping on her heart. The moment of truth was closing in. Could they weather the storm together? Or would it all unravel at the last second, washing away the connection they had restored? As the pavilion trembled, she realized they might be on the edge of everything she feared. What would it take to pull them through? The storm raged outside, wind howling like a wild beast. Inside the pavilion, Sarah could feel the adrenaline pumping through her veins. This was more than just a storm, it was the test of everything they had fought for. She looked around, searching the faces of her neighbors, friends who stood by her. Fear flickered in their eyes, but so did hope. "Hold tight," Edna shouted, gripping a post. "We can't let this break us." Her words hung in the air, sparking courage in others. When lightning flashed again, illuminating the structure, it felt like a moment of truth. They were all standing on the brink, each heartbeat echoing in the storm's rhythm. "Let us create noise," Sarah yelled, channeling her panic into action. Laughter, claps, shouts. "Let us show the storm we're not afraid." Instantly, voices roared in unity. Claps echoed, laughter bubbled up, and they began to chant together. "We're here. We're together. We'll rise." With every word, fear dwindled like the storm outside. The wind screamed, rattling the structure, but within those walls, something magical was happening. People began to share personal stories, tales of struggle and triumph, threading a deeper connection. Sarah stood amazed as her neighbors took turns speaking little victories, and harsh realities transformed into moments of laughter and strength. And then she saw Lisa. Standing off to the side, hesitating, she seemed lost in her own thoughts. Sarah stepped forward, her heart heavy with the urge to reach out. "Hey, Lisa," she called over the roar. "We need you here. We can face this storm together." Lisa looked up, uncertainty washing over her. But there was something in Sarah's voice, a call to arms, an invitation for connection. Lisa nodded slowly, stepping into the circle of anxious yet hopeful faces. "Yes," Lisa shouted, finding her voice. "We're stronger than any storm that comes our way." The affirmation swept through the crowd, lifting spirits. In that moment, they became a united front, a tapestry of resilience woven tighter than ever. They laughed at the rain, danced to its beat, celebrating not just survival, but the spirit of togetherness. "I want to hear from everyone," Sarah urged, her heart swelling. "Share what you love about our community." Voices flourished. Young parents spoke of their kids finding friendship in hardship. Old friends recalled days filled with barbecues, laughter, and long talks under summer stars. Even the uneasy ones, like Lisa, began to share, speaking of their dreams, of change, and of hope in the face of uncertainty. With every story, the storm's grip loosened, transforming fear into strength. By the time the winds shifted and the rain subsided to a soft patter, people were smiling. They had woven an unbreakable bond through shared experiences. As the clouds finally parted, a gleam of sunlight pierced through, showering the group in warmth. Gasps of wonder rippled through the crowd. "Look!" someone pointed. A rainbow arched across the sky, vibrant and triumphant. Tears pricked at Sarah's eyes. It felt as if the universe was shining down on them, affirming their fight. They had stood together, faced the storm, and emerged stronger, bathed in light. "That's it," Edna exclaimed, enthusiasm flowing through her. "Let us keep the momentum going. We can turn today's chaos into more than memories. We can start planning for our future." "Absolutely," Sarah replied, heart racing with eagerness. "Let us make our community gatherings a monthly event. We can support each other through cooking, arts, and every little thing." Excited chatter filled the air again. Ideas were shared and laughter echoed as excitement bubbled anew. Together, they would build not just a catering business, but an entire collective, a network that would thrive even amid chaos. Weeks passed, and the storm faded into a memory. The community center buzzed with life. The first pop-up event drew more than just locals. Visitors from nearby towns who'd heard of their resilience came to support, sharing love and excitement in a thriving environment of connection. The catering business blossomed as local produce was featured, transforming the town into a culinary gem. Sarah stood back, holding Lily and Max, a smile lighting her face. She had transformed from a nameless ghost into a beacon of hope, and every challenge had painted their family and community with shades of resilience and belonging. "Mommy," Max squealed, and her heart swelled. In that moment, Sarah realized the truest victory wasn't just the business or the events, it was the love and support they had cultivated. This community, once at risk of falling apart, had risen, standing stronger than she ever imagined possible. As laughter surrounded her, mingling with the sense of delicious food and camaraderie, she knew this was just the beginning. They had weathered the storm and emerged together. It was time to celebrate that newly forged bond for years to come. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this message of hope. And comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. I want to know how this inspires you. This is the moment to show your support for the channel and be part of our growing community.